Yahweh promises to gather everyone He scattered. And I am a Hebrew. We are Hebrew.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in North Carolina.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Tennessee.
I am a Hebrew, born in Arkansas.
I am a Hebrew. I was born in Texas.
I am a Hebrew, and I am from Florida.
I'm a Hebrew, and I was born in California.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in San Diego, California.
I'm a Hebrew. I was born in Indiana.
I am a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Spain.
私はヘブルです。日本で生まれました。Soy hebrea. Nací en Puerto Rico.
I am a Hebrew from West Africa, Liberia.
I am a Hebrew, and I was born in Straitway.
We are Hebrew.
Oh, my sister.
Shalom, shalom, my sisters, all Israelites out there tonight. Blessings to each and every one of you. I hope you hear us loud and clear. I have the chat room up. Give me some sound checks, please. Welcome to tonight's show. Thank you for following us. If you hear us for the first time tonight on Straitway Helpmeets YouTube channel, please find us at blogtalkradio.com/Straitway. And please follow Pastor Dow on this same radio broadcast every Friday night. Let's go to Georgia. Sister Jennifer, blessings to you. Let's get a sound check, my sister.
Blessings to you, Sister Ashley, and blessings to you all, Daughters of Zion. Thank you so much for tuning in for yet another episode of Sister to Sister. It's so good to be here, and it's so happy to have you all with us. I pray that I'm coming in clear, and I pray that I can be heard. I'm still pulling up the chat room, but Sister Ashley, you have it pulled up on your end, so you can tell me what we need to know. That's all I've got.
All right, yes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Looks clear. Greetings again, my sisters. We have an awesome event coming up very, very swiftly, quickly, November 17th, the debate. So my very first thing I would like to do is to give some direction on where some of you might be staying. I want to acknowledge the Father first and foremost before our announcements, and I want to thank Him for the beauty of holiness. I want to thank Him for behavior training, all the behavior training that He's given me. Also, I thank Him greatly for the men in submission because it greatly affects and impacts the women of the ministry, our lives. So I'm very thankful for the men who express submission to the Father and to the leaders, chiefly my husband, who does not have 1 ounce of rebellion in him. Truly, truly. I think everyone who's ever met him would share that same testimony, even his own shepherd. I'm very thankful for Pastor's willingness and his commitment, just to love the people tirelessly, all his efforts to fulfill all of his roles and to balance family, unity, jobs, all the direction that he gives. I just think he does a wonderful job, and I'm very thankful for his travels to each of you, to some of your hometowns, to some of your fellowships, the time that he puts in with some of you, because the time will come that he's not able to pour into you as much because someone else will need that baby bird feed. But I'm very thankful for his travels to pursue the true gospel and just glorify the Father for the gathering. I can't be thankful enough, and I always thank him for the gathering. It's a mighty thing to be a part of, and I'm so glad to be alive and living right here and right now, and to know each of you. Sister Jennifer, I know you have the Most High and some others on your thoughts tonight. Let's hear them.
Yes, ma'am. First, I just want to acknowledge the Most High for giving us the tools that we need to spiritually mature. He is leaving us with absolutely no excuses, while he meets our needs so that we can truly know what it means to manifest his kingdom within us. And I want to acknowledge my head, Elder Rufus, for his love and his wisdom. Many times as women, we lack balance. And I'm so very blessed to have a master who operates in that balance, but not only operates in it every day, but he also teaches me how to do the same thing. And finally, I want to acknowledge Pastor Dow for being the vessel that he is for the Most High Yah. I'm so happy that Pastor was able to take a short break and to come back and to be refreshed, because the word that was delivered to us this past Shabbat was phenomenal. I truly prayed just the night before for that word, and that is what I received. And I'm so blessed, so very blessed to have a shepherd that is open to the word of the Most High Yah and who lives a clean life so that he can hear from the Father and that he can actually speak to the people. And, Daughters of Zion, we truly are blessed. Please do not take it lightly. If you are in this ministry, do not take it lightly that you are a part of such a great ministry of the Most High Yah. And that's all I have.
Hallelujah. Very good words. Very sound. Glad to have you. Glad to have you as a partner as we do this weekly. Very thankful for the opportunity, and always thanking each of you for your humility and listening and allowing us to be vessels for the Most High in your life. I want to just take just a moment. It is necessary to share some. I'm taking the liberty, Sister Evelyn, if you're listening. She did a wonderful Marco Polo video just letting everyone know who was staying in Brother Kabir's home for the Green Bay debate. And if you're new to how we work, we are a family. So we know each other by name. We know where each other lives. We know each other's phone numbers. Some of us live communally in one roof, some on land together. So you're going to hear names that you may not know. So just bear with me, because you're going to see how personal the ministry really is. It's a beautiful thing. So those of you, if you hear your name, you're going to be staying with Brother Kabir, all right? And bring your towels. There's no way to have enough towels for everyone who's coming, so just a simple request to bring your towels. And I'm taking the liberty to share this list just so those of you who are staying will know, and those of you who do not have plans will not have a place in his house. You will need to get hotel a hotel nearby or near the conference center. So, of course, Pastor Dow, Mother Carol, Mama Nellie are going to be in the house with Mama Vicky, Sister Heather from Michigan, Sister Diane and Lisa. Of course, our beloved JC's house with Sister Carolina. They're going up there with Jordan and Brother Victor. They're going to be in the house with Brother Daniel, his family, Brother Patrick, his family, Tina, Chance, my sister Tina, she's going up there. Elder Rufus will be going. Of course, the sister Jennifer, I believe. I don't know if anyone else is going from Georgia, but they're taken care of. Sister Charita, she's Georgia. Blessings to you, Sister Charita. I love you very much. Miss your boys. Hi, Jaden and Malik. You will be in the house with Gideon and Bridget. Elder Mitch, Mother Muncie, Mother Beasley, Brother Jermaine. Of course, Brother Ron's home, Brother Rashad, Brother DeJerry, Brother Charlos. Sister Hannah, you are welcome in Brother Kabir's house with your daughter. Brother Samuel, you're welcome in Brother Kabir's house with your family. Of course, our beloved Pastor Corey, thank you for all that you do, sir, all that Straitway Kansas City does. Thank you for the support, the love, the submission. Pastor Corey's going to be in the home that weekend as well. Deacon Miguel and his family, blessings to you. And lastly, Brother Claudio. So if you didn't hear your name on the list, I was really grateful that Sister Evelyn shared that video, and I wanted to share it in just a broader hearing audience tonight, just in case you missed the Marco Polo video. Bring some towels, get yourself ready for a wonderful event. No foolishness, honestly. You need to carry yourself very upright in this man's home. Of course, I don't have to tell the saints that are on this list that, but if you're going and you're in a hotel and you're going to represent us and come together with Straitway, you want to walk in a very upright manner. So typically we don't laugh abruptly. We don't, there's so many things we don't do because we're a self-tempered people. But although we're full of humor, we are full of life. We are full of passion. There's a time for everything. I guess that's what I meant instead of we don't laugh abruptly. But you'll understand when you get the mannerisms of the people that you meet from Straitway, and they're really honestly going to bless your life forever. As I said earlier, thanks to the Most High Yah for behavior training. I have it. I've had to have it. So you need behavior training as well. Jennifer, any thoughts on, if you could please announce, who is Pastor debating? What is he debating about? And where can someone stay? Any thoughts on the debate November 17th?
Yes, ma'am. Pastor Dow is debating Ron Young, and he is a Christian. And the debate will be about Christmas and Easter. And I pray that everyone comes prepared to just listen and to learn, even with a spirit of humility, not with a spirit of, I've already heard this, I know it all. There's nothing that Pastor Dow is going to be able to teach me. Don't go with that type of spirit. Go ready and willing to listen and to learn. And if your name was not called on the list to stay in Brother Kabir's home, then you will need to make your own arrangements. Now, there are some hotels that are around the area, so I know what some of the saints around Georgia did was they got on Hotwire, they got on Priceline, and they looked for their own hotels. So they found some really good deals per Hotwire and Priceline. So I pray that if you have not already done that, you will go ahead and do that now. Don't wait until the last minute. Also, I wanted to say that, when you're going to a new environment, we've announced this before. We have announced this. I believe this is my fourth time saying this. When you go to a new environment, you have to know how to control yourself. You have to know how to behave. And you have to understand how to control your children. So if you do not have control of your children, then you don't need to bring them. If you don't have control of yourself, then you don't need to come. That's the best way that I can put it, even in the words of Pastor Dow. If you bring your children and you don't know how to control them, or you don't know how to control yourself, you will be embarrassed. If you are, if you're used to disrespecting your husband at home, that won't be tolerated here. So please, we have to be mature. So don't go, to this venue. Don't go to this debate, making Straitway look bad, or making your family look bad, making your husband look bad. Please learn how to control yourself. If you don't have it yet, you don't know how to control yourself yet, or your children, then don't come. Don't bring them. And that's all I have.
Great, very good. And, you're going to an atmosphere of a debate, so you're going to have a lot of, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness in high places. So a lot of people are going to potentially come with their own ideas and opinions, and me just letting you know that an experience at a debate with the people of the Most High Yah and with the saints is not like the experience you would get when you come to a very welcoming and hospitable land or community or home that we have amongst the ministry. So you're not going to get your full experience with the people. You're going to get a beautiful experience with the saints and their natures, but in an atmosphere like that, it may tend to be tense. It may be full of doubt and unbelief. So there's a lot of spirits that are going to show up in the highest place that we've been taught. Pastor says our minds. So just, you can sit in your seat, you can be prayed up, you can really be beckoning for the Father to open His people's minds to the truth. It's going to be an awesome teaching tool for at least one person, but I really look forward to more than one coming out, because some just have to warm up to the fact that Pastor isn't everything they've read or heard online, or he isn't everything that they concocted up even in their own conscience. So it's going to be a good event, and Pastor can't get to everyone, so please introduce yourself to some of the saints. You'll get a great experience. Anything else for your thoughts, Jennifer, on that?
Yes, ma'am. And I want y'all to know, even Pastor Dow mentioned during Shabbat, he said Ron Young is a very kind man. And so I don't want us to go in, women, I don't want us to go in being contentious or, having these preconceived ideas in our mind of what we think this man may be like. We just need to go down and we go there and sit down and be quiet, be silent. We don't need to fight Pastor Dow's battle. He knows how to debate. So, and even Ron Young made a very good video about what to expect and what the debate will be about. And, and he said that he was actually looking forward to welcoming Straitway. So, let's just go and represent, and, let's just have the law of kindness on our tongue when we go. Sister Ashley.
Very, very good. I think we've given quite enough, just interaction tips or behavior tips. And if anything else comes to your mind throughout the show, this might be the last opportunity that we have to reach anyone who is going. Special thank yous to everyone who is traveling from a long distance to see or to participate, to hear. Thank you for the honor that you show the ministry and the man of Yah for your travels, your gas money, and we pray that you will receive that experience that you desire. So I wanted to go a different direction than I guess we've ever talked or been live about. Tonight we wanted to discuss beauty because it is such a hot topic. But here's the thing, even though it's such a hot topic, beauty and imagery, I'll say it like this. We are a deliverance ministry, and I've been casting spirits out of people as well as receiving deliverance for 11 years now. Y'all can say 11 years. And in that experience, and hundreds of spirits being cast out of me and casting out probably thousands or over 1,000 in others, in all those experiences, rejection is very, 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 very common. Okay, that's going to be one of the very first things, one of the very first roots of freedom that you're going to tap into. But then at the same time, it's one of the largest strongholds because it's interwoven so much into who you are or how you've always thought. And so rejection is very present in, I would say, 100% of the women that have ever came through the ministry, just because we're fighting the paradigm and the culture that we live in, and we're fighting to know who we are, etc. So with that said, you have the rejection perspective, but you have the pride issue. And you have the vanity and the haughtiness and the ego and all those things. And the most interesting thing is that's one of probably the least spirits that I've ever cast out of anybody. I'm definitely not declaring that everybody I've ever worked with has that spirit. That's not it at all. What I just simply mean is we need to have the truth of who we are in our conscience to be able to submit ourselves, to be able to get free, and to recognize the vanity that you actually have in your flesh the vanity that you have potentially filled yourself with, worshipped or idolized or created an image that you served. So vanity of vanities, all is vanity. But as I say that, working with deliverance, vanity is not something that I often cast out. But with as much rejection as we have had to fight, you know that it should be there. So we just kind of want to talk about that tonight. I want to cover some vanity. I got a lot of really good sound bites, so we got a lot going on, and I want to open the phone line. So everyone, please hold off on calling for now. I'll give out the guest call in and some information potentially later. So I got pastor sound bites. I got some sound bites from some great documentaries, and I just want to get started. Got a lot to cover in this, and hopefully, as we cover some of these sound bites, we will end up giving you, or the Most High, by the power of His Spirit, as much as you would like to change, it's freely available for you. So we want to initiate conviction, because we all need great, impactful changes and words in our life to better ourselves, all of us. So I hope tonight will initiate some different thought that's going to set at least the righteous feet in a different journey, an upright journey. Jennifer, any thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. As you listen tonight, just think about the words of Pastor Dow this past Shabbat when he said the real true knowledge is to realize your heart condition. So as you're listening tonight, think about what your heart condition is and be honest with yourself so that you can be set free, because that is the real true knowledge, and that is what is going to set you free. Sister Ashley?
Hallelujah. I actually like surprising Sister Jennifer. We don't talk about our show topics often. I might tell her which direction we're going, but what do you always say, Jennifer? The least amount of notes is better. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. I like it this way.
All right. So tonight I'm going to play some sound bites that you have never heard. Is that correct?
No, ma'am. I haven't heard any of them.
Awesome. I'm going to get your first-time experience commentary. Let's go to Shabbat message first and foremost, all right, acknowledging our under-shepherd for his work. Sabbath message 11:03:18. It's called The Guilty Will Be Punished over on Straitway University's website. The Guilty Will Be Punished. We're going to go to Straitway University's tonight, that message. I like the up-close and personal of Brother DeJerry's. I like the immediate uploads of Brother Darrell, and I love the music removal from Straitway Tech Team. He'll often remove the music just so you can get straight to the word, no fast-forwarding sometimes. So we really got at least 3 avenues that we can pick, and I really, really appreciate these brothers for doing it. All right, without further ado, let's go to the Sabbath message 11:03:18.
If you really truly want to get down to the nitty-gritty of history, there really truly ain't nothing prideful about being called an Israelite. Because all we've done is just make a best of ourselves throughout all history. We have spent the majority of our inception in slavery. That's true. Yeah, true. Ain't got nothing to brag about except whips and chains. That's true. That's true. Yeah, for real. Tell the truth. Isn't that right? That's true. And the only reason why we can glory is because of Him. Yeah. That's it. Matter of fact, that's the only reason why anybody can glory. But I often quote this scripture and say it over and over again, that there was a spirit of Antichrist that wanted to deny Jesus' flesh. He was saying they come in the flesh. Well, we already know that, but it's also talking about something else, too. See, in this chapter right here, which should be studied, it goes in great detail to let you know how serious this matter is. I'll say it again. Have God cast away His people? He's talking about everybody in the earth. No. Who was His only people? Israel. God forbid, for how also am I what? Israel. Of the seed of Abraham. And of the tribe of Benjamin. God has not cast away His people, which He what? The one who went in slavery and captivity and all this other stuff, right? Yes, sir. Wrought ye not what the scripture has said of Elias, how he maketh intercession to law against Israel? Yeah. Why? Stubborn, stiff-necked, rebellious, stout-hearted. That's right. A people full of iniquity, laden with sins.
talk about that for a moment, Sister Jennifer, as we uncover or, continue in our journey of talking about beauty tonight. First and foremost, he's just declaring that we have nothing to glorify our flesh about or to brag about. I think it's an awesome perspective to start with. What do you say?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely nothing to brag about. We are those people that he was mentioning, the stubborn, stiff-necked, stout-hearted. We are those same people. And when we fail to realize that, there's no way that we're going to be able to move forward and to actually truly walk in freedom. But that's us, the stubborn, stiff-necked, stout-hearted. That is us. Sister Ashley?
This is a ministry that really directs your inner man. What would you say about that? Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I believe that from my experience when I was in Christianity, there was a lot of focus not on the heart condition at all. There's a lot of focus on the external, the appearance of things, just appear to be happy, appear to be doing well. But the condition of the heart was never fully dealt with. There was never talk about, sin. Not every single sin was talked about. There were certain sins that were highlighted, but not every single one like you get in this ministry. There's nothing in this ministry that our pastor won't talk about. And that is how, the inner man will be set free. Sister Ashley?
Very good. I like the word appear that you used. Appear to have money. That's really a large one in this society. Appear to, in the Christian church, appear to love. Just appear to love, appear to be fruitful, appear to be prospering, appear. And nothing gets down to the really nitty-gritty and heart of man unless you are to turn and to repent. Let's go to another soundbite. You ready?
Yes, ma'am, I'm ready.
We are here today that I never, ever would have crucified Yeshua fresh. I would have never killed the prophet, but look at the attitude.
Yeah, that's right.
I was talking to some people down there, and I said, why you get so upset? All I think I'm doing is telling you the truth. Even if I open up this book and tell you to read, see, I'm going to tell you what's going on. Tell you what's going on. Oh, tell me what's going on. I said, you see, this is a setup. Yeshua told us to go, I said, Jesus told us to go into the world and preach his message. You can't see Jesus, but you hear his voice.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah. See, because by the time it comes out of my mouth and into your head, his voice is talking. And because you can't recognize your condition, you don't realize that you're not upset with me, but you're upset with him. Because he disagrees with your fallen nature. And that's why he said light is coming to the world. And men love darkness rather than light because their deeds are evil continually. The setup is that you would say if you saw him, you would never get mad at him. So what he does is he insulates himself inside of us. And he allows you, through your mind, to persecute us, to persecute me, and all the while you give yourself a pass and say, I've never persecuted him. And he said that if they persecute the master of the house, guess what, servant, you're going to get it too. See, you don't realize that who you really truly have an offense against is the greater one that made heaven and earth.
Yes, right.
Because the words that I speak and say unto you, they're not mine.
That's right.
They belong to him. I'm just repeating exactly what he said, just like he said, I am telling you what the Father said.
That's true.
You know what it is? You got more man. I understand your condition. You get it?
Yes, sir.
Get it? Have we ever found ourselves offended at the word?
Good question, Sister Jennifer. Your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. Sister Ashley, many times we will find ourselves offended at the word, but will we really accept the fact that that's what we're offended at? The word will, the truth will come and will cut us, and we will become offended at that word. but we will deny it. We won't accept the fact that that's what we're offended at. And, Pastor even said, you get angry with the one who will disagree with your fallen nature, but yet we say we love the Most High. We get upset with the ones that He sent to bring the message. So, yes, we become offended at the Word, and we're offended with Him, but we don't want to admit that that is what we're offended at. We're offended at Him, but we say we love Him, and that's what He's telling us. We're not telling the truth. We're liars. We don't love Him. Sister Ashley?
My sister's offense, right? Some of us get to the point in our walks where we actually start to dig into asking the Father about your offense, or really peering into your life to see if you have an offense. Some of us walk in offense and may not know it. Some of us have offenses revealed to us and we have to deal with them. My personal story that this show is not about, but the power of offense in my life, this is Ashley, the power of offense in my life was the strongest feeling and the strongest passion and the strongest emotion that my flesh has ever engaged in, ever. It depends on how far you go with it, how driven by it you are, how much you meditate upon it, even in resisting my offense, because I wouldn't say that I was given over to it by any measure, but just being shown the wickedness of my heart and just being able to have that offense show up and be manifest and be made known to me in such a magnitude that the Father allowed it to be. And the reason I say He allowed it to be, because in my particular case, He determined when I was to be set free by it as well. As I said, another show, another time, offense is the strongest passion I've ever had. Suppressing any other emotion was easier. And even the Word talks about how much easier it is to win a city than it is to deal with an offense, to win someone over that has been greatly offended. So if you have that passion driving you against the Most High's ways, it may mask itself in many different ways. You may pick your husband's life apart and reasons why you don't want to submit. You may pick the ministry apart and have problems with how this is done or that's done, or the money should be spent on this and not building a tabernacle, or your offense may be with another sister, and that is going to be an emotion that drives you every day. You don't believe that it's interwoven and connected, but in your inner man, yes, yes, and yes, it will drive you. Jennifer?
Yes, Sister Ashley. I'm so happy you brought up offense, because when you are offended, it is so real to you. It is so very real to you, but it's only real to you, though. It's not real to anybody else. Nobody else sees it but you. And, I know I'm not going to go deep into it, but I had deceived myself for 2 years, thinking that I wasn't offended, thinking that I was okay. I never dealt with my offense. And then one day, the root of bitterness that had grown for 2 years, it couldn't be hidden anymore. It was a huge tree. And, I found myself asking, how in the world did I get here? And it was because I ignored my offense. So now, having gone through that, I know what to look for. I know how to deal with offenses before they even try to take root. I understand that when you're offended, you're not thinking clearly. You're not thinking straight at all. So it's very important to know when you are dealing with an offense, you are seeing completely different than what reality is. Sister Ashley?
Hallelujah. I too glorify the Father that, being out of an offense and being delivered out of that way of seeing wrong, perceiving wrong, believing, speaking, and acting wrong, when you are shown yourself in that magnitude and you really come to that realization, you're very grateful for, like you even said, you're able to resist the offense attempts back in any angle. in any form. So I'm very thankful for the experience, how long that it was, a very long period of time. I'm very thankful for the eyesight that I have now that's able to actually help even some of you. So I understand his master plan. Let's go back to the sound bites. We're going back to Sabbath message 11:03:18. Another minute.
Hold on. See, most people think they are offended with Pastor Dow. You're not offended with me. That's just all you know. You're really truly offended at the word. You're really truly taking issue with the word. He said, my words, they are spirit, and they are what? Life. Today we live in a world that people are afraid to tell the word because they'll take more in mind to the account of your feelings and emotions. I call that extortion. Pillage. Because they rather hold you and your admiration in person more than the word of God. Thereby not delivering the soul. So he says, look at this. Master, they have killed your prophets, dig down the altars, and I am left alone. And they seek my way. But what says the answer to y'all to him? I have reserved to myself, how many? 7,000 men.
All right, just for a moment, he was just talking about the power of offense as well. He's about to start going into a woman for a moment because Satan has always used the woman. So what else could you add, Jennifer, at this point to talk about the power of a woman's offense?
You know, women tend to hold on to things a lot more than men do because women are very emotional. And women will typically allow their emotions to lead them. And a woman will remember something that happened so long ago, you know, even to the point of if someone has repented, you know, they've asked for forgiveness and they've repented, they've not walked in that wicked way anymore. As a woman, if you don't get your emotions in check and if you don't learn how to govern yourself and how to control yourself and to truly forgive from the heart, then you are not going to be able to go forward. You're not even going to be able to know how to look at that person as, you know, a new creature. You're not going to be able to see them as new. You'll still see them as the old. You're not going to know what it is to forgive. And I liked when, you know, Pastor said, he said, do you love yourself so much that you don't want to lose you? And it's the same thing, you know, when a woman is holding on to an offense or holding on to her emotions, do you love your flesh that much that you don't want to lose the right to be offended? And so that's something that we really have to ask yourself. And that was one question that I wrote down from Sabbath. Do I love myself so much that I don't want to lose me? And I think that's a really good question for us to all ask ourselves. Sister Ashley?
Hallelujah. He's reading out of Romans chapter 11, if you want to make that note or study that chapter as he directed earlier in the Shabbat message. We're going to go back to this clip. Now, he's about to share a very short experience or conversation that he's had with his wife, Mother Carol. And some of you would be greatly offended if he were to speak this way to you. And it's just an interesting point to bring up. We're going to stay on point because I thought you were talking about beauty, Ashley. We are the beauty of holiness. Don't worry, we'll get off into the imagery very soon, all right? So listen up to just a small conversation that he had with his wife.
I said, Sister Carol, we did a lot of talking to each other, right? I said, Satan has really got y'all messed up. Y'all are so told up, y'all are so clamorous and foolish. Now, she knows I'm not speaking about her now. But I told her what she was a fool was too prior to converting. And I wouldn't even know where anything was. I was Judas, though, wasn't I?
So it could appear that our men talk down to us. Is this true?
No, ma'am, not at all. Our men are actually loving us. Our men tell the truth about us. And you know what, women, if we loved ourselves, we would be in agreement. You know, I know when my master says, you know, boy, y'all are so jacked up. I'm like, yes, sir, we are. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I understand we are. And you know what? If I feel a high octane ping in my heart, then I know I've got some work to do. You know, I know that something has been hit in me that has not been dealt with. So you've got to know and understand that if you're the one that cannot agree with that truth, that, yeah, women are jacked up in the minds. Yes, ma'am. When we don't have our minds together and we're led by our emotions, absolutely. And even Pastor Dow said, you know, when he was referring to his wife, he said, not now. She's not that way now. So we have to understand and agree so that we can get to that place of you know, the not anymore. We used to be like that, but not anymore. Sister Ashley.
Very good. And, you know, I had a really good conversation with my sister Carolina today. And, you know, she had sought out her husband's direction on something, and we just really gelled because we both know, as well as many women in the ministry, just using this for an example because it comes to my mind, we know that if I'm talking to Jennifer, there's nothing I would say or do that she can't report or ask or support or you know, get her husband's direction on. If I'm asking a question that seems random, if I'm just totally laughing with you, having a good time, socially giving counsel, it doesn't matter. I have in the back of my mind that this woman I'm speaking to is a purchased possession of Christ, the Messiah, his blood, but also she belongs to her husband as a beautiful possession of him, and that I should never infiltrate their home or give them direction outside of their covenant. And so I think if we all understand that that's how we function as a body, I think you would see it as much more honor than fear or beating down or talking down to one another. Because if I'm going to call up Jennifer, even if I pour out my heart about needing deliverance or needing counsel, help me with this way, 150% of the time, which is all the time, I would not ever mind nor be offended if she sought her husband's help or asked him what she should counsel me or say to me. So as we go to one another, I think we can say that same thing. We can tear down that mistrust wall that says, well, can't you just keep it between me and you? It's actually vulnerability that is creating strength. It's not you holding on to your sins. It's saying, help me. It's not overtelling or overcommitting yourself to too many counselors. I know I said a lot, but Jennifer, this is making sense, correct? Do you see the same thing?
Yes, ma'am, I do. You know, and some things are, you know, confidential and not shared, but some things you do need that extra counsel. You know, you do need that extra wisdom. And that is the beauty of being able to go to a very sound and wise husband and to be able to get the wisdom that you need so that you can actually help the sister that is coming to you, you know, the sister in her vulnerable state that is coming to you so that she can be delivered and she can be free.
Very good. I'm glad that you brought up, you know, not everything has to be shared. It's a very important fact because if you are speaking honestly, as an open book easily read, if you're counseling or speaking honestly with another sister and you know that there's no trust issues except in you, then you know that if you just speak freely, there's nothing that she would say or not say that's going to damage or misrepresent your character. So there's a lot of freeing that needs to be done in our minds, and the way that we're going to do that is by loving one another and coming together the way that the Most High Yah is placing us and the way that Pastor is leading us. Let's go to the next soundbite.
All right, come here, Jordan. You get a woman, all right? And this is what Satan has done to y'all women today. Turn her. All right? Now, we're going to pretend like she's a worldly woman. All right? First thing you do is y'all get so down on yourselves, you get fake hair.
Yeah.
If you don't have faith there, you're covered. Because you're not content with the way y'all made. Come on. Can I tell the truth? Weeds. Somebody else's hair. Somebody else's hair that probably from another country doesn't sacrifice it to an idol. You weave it in and sew it in your head and you flaunt your falsehood. Hold on. Fake eyelash. You trim and cut the eyebrows and everything else, and you're not content with the way you are. You look in the mirror, boy, and that demon making you what he wants you to be. Fake eyelashes. Then sometimes you look in the eye, it looks like you're looking at a demon. Like dang, contacts, colors. Oh, I got a wrinkle. Botox. Why does that mean they got none of these challenges? Uh-oh. Then you got fake lips. First you used to talk about the black woman because her lips was big and bubbly. Now you're trying to go out there and get them bigger than hers. Fake breasts, fake hips, fake ass, fake toes, fake fingernails. You just said false. Screwed up his head. He just false his head. Look what Satan done.
That's true.
There's no way an Israelite super should envy that crap in that mix. And then the world want to sell it and say, I ain't going to look like that. What you should be saying, I ain't going to look like that.
Hallelujah. Very powerful. How is it, Sister Jennifer, that someone can be listening to this show tonight and actually be crying, and then someone else can be in a rage? Explain.
You know, someone could potentially be crying because their heart may be convicted. The Father may be dealing with them regarding what true beauty is, you know, taking off the false, the fake, the covering up. The Father may truly be dealing with that particular person. Someone else may be in a rage because, you know, they don't agree. They're not in agreement. They're offended at the truth. So they may not be ready in their own heart to receive it, but the Father is still giving it. So, you know, I think about this, Sister Ashley, when Pastor was talking about, you know, fake everything. And this was one thing that really stood out to me when I came to the faith, and I started to understand about, you know, why we don't wear makeup, why we don't wear false hair, why we don't wear false nails. And when I was reading the Psalms, I read a particular part. It says, through thy precepts I get understanding. Therefore I hate every false way. And, you know, David is saying that, you know, as you're going and you're learning his law, you're learning his precepts, you're going to gain understanding. But everything that is false, everything that is fake, you're going to learn to hate it. And the Father truly did that. He got me to a place where I hated everything that was false. You know, everything that was fake, I absolutely hated it. But his law is what is going to change you. His law is what is going to convert you. You have to have a love for his law so that you can hate what is false and understand what true beauty really is. Sister Ashley.
Very good. I want to go to a clip. The Business of Beauty is Ugly. I have a few documentary clips I'm going to play tonight just to maybe direct some of you in the right course of thinking. I had said earlier to Sister Jennifer on the phone when she didn't know what we were talking about, and I didn't know what we were going to say, but I said it's amazing how much the desire that Satan has presented to every woman on earth. Do you understand that impact? Every woman on earth It's not just you. Step out of your world for a moment and go, every single one of us have been deceived, seduced, lied to, and presented with an image of who we can be, but a continual, perpetual cycle of failure when it's not achieved. So when you come to the Messiah, you no longer focus on insecurities and images and things that are before you that can never be attained. It's no longer a failure. It's freedom. It's freedom. But I said to her, we're going to talk about how much each of us might not vary from a transgender. Now, of course, that has you thinking, what in the world? A transgender just basically takes every voice they've heard and manifests it in the flesh and takes that leap to change everything about themselves, despising their creation or their being or the way that they were formed, right? In a nutshell. But who or which one of you, if any or many, can say that I don't want to change this, and about myself, that has continually been tormented for years on end without stop, with the voices, with the images, with the magazines, the advertisements, the illusion that these seducing spirits have swept over the entire globe? Which one of you have not been touched by it? So there's something about you that you want to change. So change it, the world says. Or we even say, so change it. But you have to understand contentment and a good balance. Jennifer?
You know, Sister Ashley, a really good place to start is the appreciation and the love of being a woman. The fact that, you know, He created me a woman. I confess it regularly. Father, thank you. Thank you for who you created me to be. Thank you that you have created me to be a woman. You know, the appreciation of who I am, it just truly brings healing on another level that many will not experience because they have never gotten to that level of contentment. They're not content with how the Father has created them. And the things that you don't like about yourself, or, you know, the things that you can change, then change it. Like Sister Ashley said, change it. You know, if you're having problems emotionally, dealing with your emotions, change it. Get some deliverance, you know, get some healing. But don't go around hating what the Father has created. Your confession needs to be a gratitude and appreciation for who He created you to be. Sister Ashley?
Very good. Let's go to my first clip. It's 2 minutes. The business of beauty is ugly.
Gallup research found only 4% of women self-identify as beautiful. How could that possibly be? The images presented to us are not real. They're manufactured. As magazine covers say, look a decade younger. Your weight, -8. Lose the 5, fix the flab. And my personal favorite, say you ate a cupcake. Fast moves to burn it off. This is what our average magazine stand looks like. And it's working. We spend more on beauty than on education. And that's just beauty. That's not to mention fashion. Combined, they're a $1.3 trillion industry who've made a business out of setting unreal expectations of beauty and then profiting and exploiting the insecurities that they've helped create.
Powerful statement. Jennifer, your thoughts?
You know what is so sad? You know, the statistic that 4% of women identify as beautiful. 4%. What a very sad statistic. And what you need to ask yourself is, you know, do I even know what beauty is? And a really good place to start is looking at beauty from what Yah says it is. Do we even know what it is? Do we even have it in us? You know, do we even know who we are, that inner woman? Do we even know who she is? 4% of women identify as beautiful. Wow. Sister Ashley?
I thought some of these statistics would be interesting to share, and I hope that you wouldn't be bored by them, because the comparison and the waste that we actually have in this country, let's go this way, the amount of money that is needed each year, okay, and that is spent each year in comparison goes something like this. Perfumes in Europe and United States alone, we spend $12 billion a year. But to provide water and sanitation for all people in all developing nations, $9 billion. The amount of money needed each year and spent annually on cosmetics is $8 billion, but spent on pet food, $17 billion. And spent to provide basic education for all developing nations, only $6 billion. Now, if you combine the wealth of the richest people globally, there's 225 people that they lump into that richest category, and 225 people make $1 trillion. But the combined annual income of the world's poorest people all together is only $2.5 billion. So there is a Satan, and there are demons, and there are voices, and there is an agenda, and it is to destroy the very creation and the image of beauty that of how Yah would see us. Now, if you don't really understand how to define your beauty, let me give you a quote first. 90% of the decisions that we make are emotional. And thinking about what will drive the beauty industry's growth and change in the years to come, emotion is number one and at the forefront. So all the decisions that we make emotionally about ourselves, about our beauty, about our products and our care, etc., is based on emotion. Jennifer?
You know, Sister Ashley, this is why we are told continually to come out of her. This system is designed to set goals that cannot be met. And then when you don't meet those goals, you're labeled as a failure. And, you know, the goals they're just vain. And you accomplish nothing at all. So, again, this is why we are told to come out of her, because we don't want to be a partaker of this system anymore. 90% of the decisions that are made are emotional. So no wonder why women in this world are just so deficient mentally, because 90% of the decisions that are made are emotional. Wow. Sister Ashley?
So true. So a couple of other random thoughts. In South Korea, tattoos are completely illegal. So you would think, wow, what an honorable society that maybe they don't believe in, riding on their flesh or tainting their flesh. But it's the most advanced beauty industry on the planet. This is South Korea, where you get the bone implants and the legs lengthened and the hips wider. But from the age of 19 to 29, so that's in the 20s, if you're in Korea and you're a woman in your 20s, 60% of all women have continual cosmetic surgeries and Botox monthly. That's 60% of all the women in an entire country, South Korea. And women and men over there spend more money for cosmetics and products than America. So why some of this even needs to make an impact, why it even matters, is that you would step outside of yourself, as I said earlier, and see this as a engulfing mindset, a principality, a power, a ruler of the air that is sweeping the earth, trying to get you to despise who you are. And for Israel, as we said earlier, we have no glorying or anything to brag about. But we definitely don't brag or glorify in the flesh. We just merely embrace who we are. We are different. Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. We definitely don't brag or glory in the flesh. You know, I remember Pastor saying, he said, you know, the Father truly taught us what he thinks about this flesh based on what our Messiah went through when his body was literally mutilated and he was hung on a tree. You know, the Father told us right then and there what he thinks of this flesh. And so to invest so much money into these vain products and, you know, it just completely and truly goes against what the Father thinks about this flesh. Now, I'm not saying that we don't need to take care of ourselves, because we do, but we don't need to invest in all of these false ways, these false things, you know, these things that have nothing to do with our salvation, nothing to do with our soul at all. Sister Ashley?
Good direction. Let's go to South Africa for a moment. South Africa. Over there, it is completely illegal to sell skin bleaching products. Okay? You have a vast majority of black or African, melanated, dark flesh creatures, beings over there. So South Africa, it's illegal to sell skin bleaching products, but still, guess what? 1 out of every 3 women buy it, wear it, and bleach their faces and their bodies. They have an entire police system of government that polices the marketplaces, the stores, just to remove these products, because it is whiting out way too many individuals. And of course, the men use it too. And even Pastor had mentioned in the soundbite that we played, you know, just the racial intermixing, or, you know, 1 minute a black woman's lips are too big, another minute I want my lips like that. And then 1 minute the hair is another thing he had mentioned. And potentially, weave is a $500 billion industry. Weave. So you can have hair weave that costs from $20 to $2,000. And some of y'all already know you can get your full head, you can get a partial weave, you can get it sewn, you can get it bonded. You want human hair? Check yes. You want synthetic? Pay that price. You know, then you have the cost of the care and the upkeep. It's going to take 4 to 6 hours to get your hair done. It's going to last 6 to 8 weeks. You're going to spend that money again. You want it sewn? Maybe it's $200, but you can clip it in. You can glue it in. It'll last a year. I mean, it's from the streets to Beverly Hills. You want a fusion extension? Maybe you can use some medical adhesive tape. You know, whatever length, whatever color, whatever texture you want. It's amazing. So in 2014, African Americans spent over $72 billion in hair care and weave. That's an amazing, amazing price to pay, considering the vast majority of African Americans don't have a lot of money. Jennifer?
You know, Sister Ashley, I did see that documentary that you were referring to about the South Africans and the bleaching. And I remember when I watched that, my heart was so grieved at the fact that they hated their own skin color so much so that they would want to bleach their skin. They would want to blot out their dark skin. And, you know, I remember thinking to myself, wow, you know, just for them to be influenced in such a negative way, it really is very sickening to actually hate the color of your skin. And regarding, you know, hair weave, you talked about hair weave and extensions, all that, false hair, fake hair. I remember reading a report, and I believe it may have been in the Atlanta area, but there have been murders. People have been murdered because they couldn't afford hair. They couldn't afford the hair that they wanted. And I remember reading about someone being murdered just so that they could get this hair. And that just goes to show you how wicked and how vain people can be, you know, how rejected people can be. And it truly is a sad thing. Sister Ashley?
Interesting story of how weave even came to play. If y'all are interested in learning, maybe some of you need to, you know, put these nuggets of understanding into your minds so that it will help you in your convictions and help you in your direction as you try to simply be who you are. C.J. Walker was the name of a slave woman who grew up in the plantations just like all of her peers, and she decided to make a great hair and scalp, like a straightener, a softener for the hair, and she blew up. I mean, she did a great job, let's put it like that, especially for the black industry. So she was able to give a lot of people jobs. She was able to produce a lot in a time where black people weren't given that opportunity. Phenomenal story, C.J. Walker, but at the same time, you can see its effects. And as Satan saw Yeshua in the flesh, just as he sees you and me, so he knows the Messiah. He knows the color of the Messiah. There's a great hatred for the black people. Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. And, you know, to get people of color to actually hate their skin, I tell you, that is the greatest plan of the Hasatan, to actually get the people of color to hate their skin, you know, to get people, the non-melanated people, to hate their skin. It's always whatever you don't have, that you want something else. You know, if I don't have melanin in my skin, then I want it. If I do have it, I don't want it. I want more, or I want less. It's just always about not being content. Sister Ashley?
Very good. Let's go to another clip. I really hope this brings about change, because you can go to many videos, you can go many different directions even in life to try to get to the same end result, but you're hopefully gonna get some direction from your Abba Yahweh and your Father tonight. I considered an analogy. Sorry, before I go to the clip, I considered one. You know, when you come to the Father, you begin to acknowledge Him first and foremost in all things. So if I was to go to a beach or to a zoo or to some exhibit, I'm going to always have the Father in the forefront of my mind. I grew up going to a lot of places, traveling. Oh my gosh, just everywhere, every kind of way, seeing so many historic sites, etc. But when I went to the zoo, since I've been in the faith, it wasn't too long ago, and I remember watching a giraffe, okay, and I thought to myself, I watched every little intricate step that it made, and I was just really glorifying the Father for His creation. And its hooves were amazing to me when it walked up close. It even came really close, and it stretched its neck somewhat over the fence, because the fence is really tall, and it stuck out its tongue, which is extremely long, and I admired that, and I was just basking in Yah's creation, and I couldn't help but say, "You are beautiful." Now, the reason I say that is because maybe you're going, how could the Most High see me as beautiful? Maybe you're needing to get that impact into your conscious. How can I be beautiful? Because the imagery has torn you down and your insecurities. If Yah could look upon His creation much like I looked upon that giraffe, and I can say it's beautiful, I think it's interesting that He created all things and said, it is good. It is good. Now, we are but flesh and bone and muscle, and he can look upon you and say you are beautiful. Now, the giraffe that I saw can't be exactly like all giraffes. There has to be many, many differences with him, same functioning organs, same movement and motion. It's flesh. But you can look upon that and say, that is beautiful. You can admire that. And I'm sure some of you may have a favorite animal or something you really admire, or if you've seen up close, you would admire it even the more so. But does that help you or put an analogy in your mind, Sister Jennifer, to how the Most High might be able to look upon us and just say you're beautiful and really flawless?
Yes, ma'am. You know, Sister Ashley, I was thinking about when you were just speaking. When we are in our role, when we stay in our role for what he designed us for, that is when we are beautiful. You know, as long as we stay in our role, when we don't get outside of that role, we are beautiful. When we function the way that we're supposed to, he can look at you and say, you're beautiful. This is what I designed you for. This is how I created you. You are beautiful. And I think so many times we are so, we get to a point where we're just not content. And we want to operate outside of our roles so much that we don't even know how he made us or what he made us for. And when we're in our role and we're functioning in our role the way that we're supposed to, that is when we are beautiful. Not when we're trying to act like, you know, when this masculine person, or when we're trying to act like men, or, you know, no. Behave as a woman. That is how he created you, and that is when he sees you as beautiful. Sister Ashley.
Very, very good, very well-balanced speech. I appreciate that, because we are very unique, each of us, but beauty is in holiness. Hallelujah. All right, I'm going to go to another clip from a documentary called Beauty in a Jar.
You got this, friend?
Women want to look better. It's such a simple wish for all women, and it's a very basic wish. I really believe that women want to improve themselves in many different ways. It can be a very loaded issue. It can upset women, but I think a woman's looks are directly connected to her psyche. Do you like that? Beautifying is a social practice. It involves women communicating with each other in some way. It involves pleasure. It involves the aesthetics of color, of scent, of touch. Women often see beautifying as a kind of inexpensive form of therapy, maybe not so inexpensive form of therapy.
Makeup is almost a religion in itself. You don't even think about why you do it. You just do it. It's a pleasurable activity to make up your face. I find it all so natural and so honorable and so much fun.
What I do is illusion, and so makeup is illusion for me. Since the character I do, lip sync, is supposed to be glamorous, I have to go through this process of putting on lots of makeup. When the base is put on and I see my skin tone even, I sort of breathe a sigh of relief.
When you see somebody who is overly made up, it really makes me feel uncomfortable for that person. There's something that they feel they need to hide. But at the same time, the way that you look on the outside does influence how you feel on the inside. Now, it can't only be that, but it does contribute to your well-being and to your self-confidence.
Beauty products have managed to keep their finger on the pulse of the culture and of women's legitimate longings and desires that have nothing to do with beauty. And to say, look, this product, you can buy it, and you'll get equality, you'll get freedom, you'll get sexuality, you'll get love. When in fact, really what you're getting is some color to put on your face and some goo.
I like that. A lot was said. Jennifer, your commentary, your thoughts?
You know, Sister Ashley, when I think about just the cover-up, I guess we could call it, when I think about the cover-up, the makeup, all that, the beauty, that quote-unquote beauty that can be found in a jar, I think about the fact that we will never get past the Most High Yah. You know, you can cover yourself up all you want, and to the world you may appear to be a certain way, but still on the inside, if you haven't dealt with the deficiencies, the things that have tormented you for so long, then how are you truly going to be healed? And so this is the true beauty when we are truthful with ourselves, when we truly realize the condition and the state of our heart, and we deal with that. That is when we start to tap into the true beauty, and we don't need to cover up the outside. We don't feel the need to cover up the outside, and we learn to hate everything that is false. Sister Ashley.
Very good. Going to another clip. Interesting title, An Epidemic of Beauty Sickness. Here it goes.
Beauty sickness is what happens when women spend so much time worrying not about their education, their career goals, their family, or their relationships, not about the state of the economy, the state of the environment, the state of the world, because they're too busy worrying about their weight loss goals, their skincare regimen, the state of their arms, the state of their abs, the state of their thighs. How did we get to this place? According to a set of ideas called objectification theory, here's how it works. Women live in a world where they're taught that their primary form of currency is their appearance, and you can't escape it. You walk down the street and people comment on your appearance. Advertisers tell you how to be more beautiful. Television programs, even news programs, ridicule women who fail to meet traditional beauty standards. Your appearance is so chronically observed by other people that over time you internalize that perspective. So you become an observer of yourself. Instead of moving around, looking out at the world, you spend all of that time imagining how you look to the world. Is my hair okay? Is my forehead shiny? Am I standing up straight? Am I sucking in my stomach? Am I smiling the right kind of smile? Do these jeans make me look fat? Do I have muffin top? Do I have skinny arms? Do I look okay? Right? You've internalized this notion that your body is always on display for other people, always up for evaluation, so you better keep an eye on it too. Now, psychologists have long told us that we have finite cognitive resources.
I like that, Sister Jennifer. I like how she brings up the exposure to the images. I like her terminology of the epidemic of beauty is sickness. But she brought up an impactful thought of how you can internalize your issues so much that you believe your body is on display. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Sister Ashley, is such a great imbalance. It is such a, there's no balance at all when you think about when you haven't dealt with the internal. You should desire to take care of yourself. It should not be about you being on display for the whole world. Everybody's looking at me. Actually, no, they're not. You haven't dealt with the mental that takes you there into the vain thoughts, the vanity. So you shouldn't be consumed with the way that you think everybody's looking at you. You should desire to take care of yourself. You should desire to have health for yourself. If you don't take care of yourself as the woman, how are you going to be able to take care of your family? How are you going to be able to actually give them the right things, the right nutrients that's going to really help their body? So, again, it's such a great imbalance that the Hasatan wants women to have. So we have to be balanced. Sister Ashley?
Very good. You brought up the word consumption, and, it makes me think of the root word consume. To be consumed by your thoughts, some would take it to the extreme as you consider some of the plastic surgery. You can get your breast altered, breast lifted, your breast reduced. And I don't say these things, as Pastor even said in this in the clip that I'll play later on. In Israel, we as women don't deal with this extreme consumption. Like, if I don't do this, this is what's going to happen, or this is going to be my torment, or what. But what happens with Israelites is it's a torment, literally, a day and night thing, or an every night when I go to sleep, or every Shabbat when I got to get dressed and go before the saints, or a et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you might not be going and getting the cosmetic surgeries that I speak of or the plastic surgeries, but really, what is the difference? They're manifesting the very same thoughts from the very same principalities. So you can have your nose done and your chin done and your cheek enhanced, and Pastor, named some of these in his soundbite, but your face can be lifted, your eyelids can be lifted, your neck can be lifted, your eyebrows can be lifted. There's all kinds of body contouring with the tummy tucks and the liposuctions, and they even disguise some of them like, we can remove this organ or this piece of you and you'll be slim forever. There's, of course, liposuction, and then sex reassignment surgery. And the interesting thing about all of this is how cheap they can actually make it. They can make this affordable. This merchandising, they can make affordable to every perspective, or every broad spectrum of women. You can get testosterone injections for as low as $24 a month. You can apply for a free sex change surgery. Some will pay up to $100,000 for their sex change surgery. Some might pay $7,000. But you may apply for a free sex change. It's going to cost you almost $5,000 to get a facelift, no matter who you are. Or maybe you're a man who wants estrogen. You can pay $12 a month. And then all the things that aren't really considered when the health comes into play, as you said, it's not just all imagery and it's health. And you got the bypass surgeries and the colonoscopies, the C-sections, the cataract surgery, the breast biopsies, remove the breast, remove the lump, how do you say that? When you remove the appendectomy. Yes. Appendectomy, that's it. You can get your tubes tied, hysterectomy, etc. So it's always about the cutting, the nipping, the tucking, and the changing of the flesh, the removing. It's never the real, genuine healing. There's an answer. There's a way that your body was created to heal itself, no matter what state it is in. It can reverse itself if you do the right things. Ear surgery. Ear surgery is one of the main and top cosmetic surgeries in America to change your ears. Wow. Jennifer?
You know what, Sister Ashley, when I think about just this topic that we're talking about, they never talk about what happens 20 years later. You never hear about what you're going to look like 20 years later with all the tucking and the nipping and all this. What will you look like? What will your skin look like? What type of environment are you creating internally inside of your body? What kind of acids are leaking into your cells? What type of lifestyle will you have 20 years later? And, whenever, I don't know if I'm sure we all have seen like a commercial for prescription medications. And they paint this picture of men and women, and they're walking on the beach and, or running through the flowers or whatever it is. They have to paint it as being beautiful. And then at the very end or in the midst of the commercial, they list all these medical precautions. And there's a long list, and many times death is on that list. But people are still taking these medications. And the same thing with these examples that we've given today. People are still doing these same things. Now, you can be in the faith, and you can say, I would never do that. But ask yourself, do I still have the same mental state that would lead to a decision like that? Have I truly dealt with these demonic spirits that would lead me to these decisions? Have I dealt with the rejection? Have I dealt with the self-hate? Have I dealt with all of this? And that's what we're getting to. Have you really dealt with what it takes to understand what true beauty is? Sister Ashley.
Very good, very good. Let's use another testimony for an example, just in case anyone out there is listening that this may help. I'm going to put myself very out there, very vulnerable before you all. When I was growing up, just as all of you, your conscious awareness of the things that you don't like are going to become very evident as a small or a young girl. And then you're going to do the comparison, and there's going to be a reason why you don't like what you like or that you hate what you hate. And it's either going to spiral into promiscuous behavior or hiding or covering up yourself, potentially dressing in a very tomboyish way, whatever your insecurities played out. Maybe you didn't go to the pool because you didn't want to be seen in the same thing that others were dressing, but etc. So anyway, these patterns form as little girls, and this is what I was thinking of with Sister Jennifer speaking, because this is, I have two thoughts here. One is, this is why covering up is so honorable, because of what it does, the effect that it does have on your little girls and on your children to value their body and to find beauty. And it's going to decrease the amount of any tempting comparison because nothing's visual. It's going to make you more unified. Mommy does this because, et cetera, et cetera. And, it's just a very beautiful presentation. So with that thought, let's switch it back to just my testimony for a moment. I had decided I would get plastic surgery. What? Ashley? Yeah, of course. Maybe some of you did too. Maybe you looked into it. Maybe you lusted after it, longed for it, or whatever. I was getting it, period, plus nothing. Now, my mother had committed to the payment, okay? So I did what I needed to do. I was required by her, you're going to do the research. So I looked up everything I needed to look up. And when you're fed by those spirits that are ministering to you, who gives a damn about a side effect? You are too selfish, and you're definitely not thinking about any generation after you or any children that might have to pay for your sin, your commitment to this selfishness or this act. So I get the pamphlets, I get the brochures, I call who I want, I do the study, I do what I'm required to do. She's going to pay because she's got money, and I'm going to pay her back because I make money. And I got to have a large thousands of dollars to lay down first before I can do this. Now this was, what would this be, early college? This would have been like a summer thing. And guess what happened, Jennifer? Dun, 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 drum roll. When I go to get that money and I make the drive to my mother's house, and I'm so grateful and excited that my lust can now be fulfilled, I'll get what I want. She says she has a change of heart. She has a change of heart, and she doesn't want to pay for something like that. She believes I'm beautiful, et cetera, and this spirit says bullshit. And with all my honor that I had as a child, I was very, I was moral, I was very respectful. Things happened that changed me later, but I had never had a rise up on my mother the way that I rose up when I didn't get my way. When you promised me that you would help me make this happen, and you have not helped me make this happen. So here comes all the other spirits of the betrayal, and she lied, and etc., and me giving place to that to allow my heart to even separate the further. But I share that because I am now covered spiritually, naturally, very confident, and I've come from that. So maybe some of you do, maybe some of you never went that realm or acted that way, but just so that you understand, there are people who you can relate to in this ministry from every spectrum that I can say, this is what I was bound by, and this is where I'm at. And if you've ever saw me or heard me speak or any of those things, you're not going to believe for a moment that I would be bound by something so devastating and so traumatic to pin me for so many, many years, that without this ministry and the direction of deliverance, I wouldn't be free of. Jennifer?
Sister Ashley, that's why I love this ministry, because, there are so many mature and transparent sisters, such as yourself, who don't mind just putting themselves out there so that, other sisters can get the help that they need. when you come to this ministry, you will never experience anything that someone else has not already been through. You know, you won't experience something that someone else has not already overcome. And so that is what is so humbling about this ministry. You can lay the pride down. You can lay the pride down and you can actually walk in humility and you can be set free. You can be transparent. You can be an open book. You can be who you need to be because someone has already experienced it and they've already overcome it. Sister Ashley?
Very good. So true. And you don't even have to worry about how people will think or hear it or how it's going to come across or maybe, let's go an extreme thought. Maybe if I share my testimony on air, then when I meet someone for the first time, I'm trying to really make something up here. When I meet someone for the first time, maybe they're going to start staring at every part of me to try to figure out what I wanted to change. Maybe I wanted this or that bigger, that smaller. Nope, none of those thoughts here. That's how free I am. Even if someone did that, I wouldn't know. I'm too free. Do you understand? The freedom and where the Spirit is, there is liberty. There's liberty to share, liberty to speak, and liberty to be vulnerable. Vulnerability for a moment. This is what I wanted to get into, actually, to wrap up any final thoughts for the show. But I have some more sound bites and things, so we're not done. But vulnerability, for me, was a huge, impactful, freeing technique that the Father allowed me to really embrace. And I don't mean over speaking or, how would you say, oversharing. I don't mean that. That's not the same as vulnerability. There's a time for everything, but when there's a time to share, there's so much freedom in that. For example, everything, how you view yourself is only in your mind. So if you keep it in your mind and you never express it and you never ask for help, even if it's just from the Father in prayer and on your knees, then you're going to keep that same view and it's not going to go anywhere and there's not going to be change. So you have to be very vulnerable to the Father. And the more vulnerable you are to Him, the more you understand that He sees all and is all. And then with that vulnerability, it allows you to manifest that into your relationships with your husband or your sisters and family. So when you're trying to love yourself, it's important that you experience His love. His love is existing without ceasing, daughters of Zion. His love would be like if you have something right in front of you right now, if you have a cup of water, if you have a pen or a pencil or whatever, and you reach out and you grab that, that's not going anywhere. That's His love. It's already existing. It's there for you, provided you are obedient. So if that's not going to go anywhere, you may choose to sit that pen or that water down and think a different way and function completely different and forget that you even left it there. You may walk away from it, but it's existing. It's still there. It's not going to change the fact that that glass of water was still on the coffee table. So when you want to go back and you want to take a drink of that water, you want to pick up that pen and you want to write with it and you want to use it, then you embrace this experience, this love that you have. But what happens if you never let it down? What happens if you take it everywhere you go with you and you never drop it? See, that's where confidence really comes into place, but it comes by your confessions with Him and your honesty. And lastly, just your fear of failure has to dissipate. Because as I've instructed some sisters, and even recently, when you come to this acceptance, when you view yourself inwardly and you say, I'm really afraid to fail. You know, I'm afraid to mess up openly. I'm afraid to be seen a certain way or look a certain way, etc. And this failure has always bound you. So you're actually now going to see failure as a finish line and not something that you're currently doing. I'm not currently failing no matter what mistake I make, unless it were to fall out of the faith or out of the love of the Father, right? So mistakes are made. Failures shouldn't be often. I said a lot, Jennifer. What's your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. I want to go back to, what you spoke about being vulnerable. We really have to put the pride down. When you're prideful, then Yah is going to resist you. But we really need to seek his grace. And the only way that we are going to receive his grace is when we're able to walk in humility. He gives grace to the humble. Being vulnerable takes a great deal of humility. So you have to learn how to get rid of the pride. And pride could hide in so many different ways. You may not think that you're being prideful. You could just use the excuse, oh, I'm just shy. And that could be you using a level of pride for people to not get to know you. We don't have time to be shy. There's a difference between quiet and having a quiet nature and being shy. If your motive is that you want to hide, you don't want to be seen, then that is a level of pride that you have to get rid of. You have to be vulnerable, and vulnerability comes through humility. Sister Ashley.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And you said pride hides. That's really good. I was thinking about how if you really want to know who you are, consider who you are when there's no one around. Now, you've heard that before, maybe you've thought it before, but let's take it a little step farther. That means when you're absolutely alone. No children, no husband, no nothing, just you. How you spend your me time, if you want to call it your selfish time. Who you are, you would be a combination of what you're listening to, what you're watching, the books that you select to read, the podcast you click on, the YouTube you follow, the Facebook group that you're a part of. That combination is who you are. If you want to work on a better version of you, if you want to be better, then you change the factors that surround you. So that's why, once again, we love this ministry. I can subscribe to only righteous channels. I can watch and listen to only righteous people, brothers, those of like-minded faith. I can be fed in spirit by them. I can share with mothers who are raising children as we do this together. If, for example, when you are alone and no one is around you, are you isolated? Are you very quiet and withdrawn? Are you very depressed, in secret, but very social or outgoing or different in the open? See, in order to change the inner man, you're going to have to work on yourself in those isolated times. Maybe you want to speak more. Maybe you need to speak out loud when you're by yourself. Maybe you need more praises, more hallelujahs, more things that you're listening to. Speak out loud to it. Yes, that's right. When you're reading, hallelujah, yes, Yah. And you're acknowledging and you're speaking out loud and you're making a communion. It's no longer this withdrawn, depressed heaviness that when you have a book or earpods or something that you're listening or watching to, it's no longer this really withdrawn, let me escape moment, even when you need to escape. Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. There are so many who say, I desire community. I desire to live around the community. But, when the Father, what about when he grants you that request, when he gives you the request that you need? Will you be offended because the community is getting to know you? They really see who you are, and your sins are being called out, and the Father is speaking to you through the members of the community? Are you going to be offended, or are you actually going to change? So we have to always realize that he is continually in our midst. He is living inside of us, and we need to govern ourselves. We need to behave in a way that we understand and know that he lives inside of us. Sister Ashley?
Yes, ma'am. A quote from a man named Danny Manning. It said, we suffer 1,000 times more in our heads than we suffer in reality. So we suffer 1,000 times more in our head than in reality. Let that sink in for a little while. Think on that, because to improve yourself is to improve yourself when you're by yourself. When you're by yourself. All right? I got another quote. I wanted to bring up the fact, or the, how would you say, just getting married. You know, we have sisters who desire us to speak more from a single perspective. And we have, mothers and widows in the ministry, widows indeed, that have no complaints, that love to hear from all of us. But, there's times that you just want to hear something that's going to direct you. I think we do a very well-balanced communication for single women, and let me explain why. You get direction coming, let's say even if 90% of our communication is for married women. That means all that you are hearing is applicable to you and your relationship with the Messiah, and in preparation for a husband. You are being directed in ways that majority of the women, even those voices that you hear speaking to you, weren't directed. So you might want a little more direction as a single woman or a single mother. But if you begin to open your ears and listen to what the Spirit says to the church, to the people, you'll recognize how much is actually being ministered to you. Let's go that route. What's your thoughts first, Jennifer, before we go to marriage?
No, ma'am. I think it's very well put. I don't have anything to add. You can continue.
All right. So unions form in this ministry that are 100% of the time beautiful. And we have a way of doing things that's potentially, and it is, very foreign to the world, but it is our ways. I wanted to share, let's go to Luke 1. Luke 1 for a moment. If you want to read it, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to try to be quick, and I want to hear your thoughts, Sister Jennifer. Luke 1, you remember the story about Mary and the angel and what he said to her. Let's think about something for a moment. This is a single woman. This is a virgin. Obviously in the lineage of a very, of our tribe, of a beautiful, she's an Israelite. So, Luke 1:26, in the 6th month, the angel Gabriel was sent from God unto a city of Galilee named Nazareth to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Joseph. So you might know that espousal means she's going to marry him. All right? Of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. All right, now picture this in your minds. We're going to have a communication here now, okay? Because all throughout our word, we've been taught how to read this word by pastor, by the elders, by the Holy Spirit. So we're going to put that into effect right here, that into play. We're going to learn how to read, okay? Luke 1:28 says, and the angel came unto her. And here they are, two people, Mary and the angel. He walks up, he says, Hail, thou art highly favored. The Lord is with thee. Blessed are you among women. When she saw him, she was troubled at his saying, and cast in her mind what manner of salutation could this be. Let's stop there for a moment. If there's a dialogue between a man and a woman, in this society, it's a free-for-all. You speak to me however you want. I may flatter you or speak back. We make eye contact. We're loose-lipped, and we can do whatever. Now, this woman is wondering, why would he speak to me this way, and why would he say this to me? Now, you may think, maybe she was not very confident. Maybe his blessing upon her spoke to her insecurity. But not so. I'm just speaking hypothetically, trying to get you to understand how real and living this word is, that, you know what, two people are talking here, an angel and Mary, and it's potentially her understanding of how a man would speak to a woman that drives this whole conversation. Because the angel said unto her, Fear not, Mary, okay, because he discerns there's something in you that's not, listening. He knows. Right? Or she's, as it says, she was troubled. So in Luke 1:30, Fear not, Mary, the angel says. You have found favor with Yah. All right? And he proclaims a prophecy over her, and he says, behold, you're going to conceive. You're going to bring forth a son, and you're going to call his name Jesus, the Messiah, the Anointed One. He shall be great. He shall be called the Son of the Highest, and the Lord God shall give unto him the throne of his father David, and he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and of his kingdom there shall be no end. And he ends what he's saying to her, okay? So he's just spoke to her, he's prophesied to her. And Mary, watch her response, says to the angel, how shall this be, seeing I know not a man? All right? There's humility in that answer. And the angel answered and said unto her, the Holy Spirit shall come upon you, and the power of the Highest shall overshadow you. Therefore also the holy thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of God. And behold, your cousin Elizabeth, she also has conceived a son in her age. This is the 6th month with her, who was called barren. So he gives that example to her. He says, for with Yah nothing shall be impossible. Watch Mary's response and her character as a virgin daughter of Zion. Mary said, behold, the handmaid of the Lord, be it unto me according to thy word. And the angel departed. Now, in the King James Version, it says, behold, the handmaid of the Lord. But in our modern tongue, she might have said, I belong to the Messiah. Be it according to his will over me. Whatever he says, I will do. If he blesses, I will walk in it. Some of those kind of affirmations, like, if you know, this is of Yah. I know, behold, the handmaid of the Lord. She proclaimed her covering in her speech to an angel, that I know who I belong to. I'm the handmaiden of Yahweh. See, now that speech should be what charts your course as a chasekeeper at home, as a virgin daughter, as a virgin listener to our show. That speech should cater you because you are covered and you are protected. Jennifer, your thoughts?
Yes, ma'am. Not only did she have the words, but she had the actions that actually backed it up. You know, the belief. She was the handmaid of Yahweh, you know, and that she believed. There was no unbelief in her. Be it unto me according to thy word. And I like how, you know, looking at her reaction, she was slow to speak. If you look at women in this society, how many would try to overtalk, you know? How many would try to get answers and not even let him speak? How many wouldn't even be able to be quiet? Just like the example that Pastor gave on Shabbat, the woman that talked so much, and Pastor said, you know, she can't be quiet. She just can't. But when you look at this, she was slow to speak, and her actions actually backed up her words. Sister Ashley?
Very good that you mentioned her actions, because hypothetically, when she's engaged or in conversation with this man or this angel before her, this greeting was initially troubling, remember. Maybe because she had such humility and honor in her as a single woman, as a virgin, that she knows, check this perspective out, hypothetically, she knows that you would need to be an aged mother to receive such a greeting, to receive such an honor. There needs to be a humility about you when you haven't had children. You don't know the experience. There needs to be a humility about you when you haven't been a grandmother, when you haven't been an aged woman. Instead of this culture's everyone's equal, I'm sure in her mind she understands that this form of greeting would be for normally given to women who had, let's say, were recognized for their power, or not even their power, just for more of their presence. She's a very young handmaiden, so she's going to hold herself a completely different way. One thing she's not, like this society does, she's not looking for some soupy conversation with a man the flattery or what he's going to say. She's not going to sell herself cheap. He's not going to walk up and speak to her any old kind of way and try to get her body. Jennifer?
Yes, ma'am. This interaction is really making me think about something that Pastor talked about on Shabbat. He talked about our responses. How we respond could really chart what is manifesting itself, what is manifesting in our bodies. And he was talking about sin and disease. And, if you were in this situation and you respond out of vanity because you haven't dealt with the vanity or the rejection that is within you, your response would be completely wrong. And that could be the determining factor of, sin and even disease in our lives and things that we just don't get set free from because of our reactions, because of, our words are not lining up with our lifestyles. Sister Ashley?
Very good. And her humility, her way of dress, the way that she carried herself, all of that really created a value for herself that has been robbed and taken away from us because we fell prey to the seduction and the seducing spirits that have swept the globe. All right, so we're getting towards the end of what I like to say is my allotment. I have longer than 2 hours allotted, so you're going to have to bear with me while we wrap this up because I have 2 more sound bites. So I know we're going to go over the time and we're not going to be able to take phone calls, but I hope this has convicted or penetrated or initiated some great thoughts in you all. And I want to go to, I want to get your commentary on this, Sister Jennifer. As I said earlier, she has not heard this before. I'm going to the Oprah show. Oprah, let's see what Oprah says. Talking about finding a soulmate, finding someone for the rest of your life, right? She's got a woman with a PhD, a really smart, intelligent woman here. Let's see if you agree or not, Jennifer. Here we go. You ready?
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
The first way is what I call the shallow way. It comes from our fears and from our grasping, and I want a man to make me happy. I want a man to make me secure. It's very fear-based. And I want a man who's happy, handsome, so he'll look good to other people. That I call the shallows. Lists that you make in the shallows, they just don't work. Mm-hmm. You have to go to some part of your consciousness I call the core of peace. Yes. And when you're there, see, Alice has in the magazine, we have a diagram of the shallows and the core peace. There it is, right there. So Alice had lost a husband to death. She'd lost one to divorce. She'd had numerous dating heartbreaks, and she had given up her attachment to needing a man. So when she made that list, she was completely content with her life as it is, no resistance to life now, and completely confident that that list really did describe her ideal mate. Then she dropped it and let it go.
All right, so she has what's called the shallows and making goals in the shallows, and then she has what's the inner peace and those two things that direct. Now, of course, they're not Holy Spirit filled, but what's your thoughts on what she's sharing as she tries to initiate women to come from their core of peace?
Sister Ashley, the only thing I can think of right now is I praise the Father for Straitway Ministries. Because I'm telling you, we don't have to subject ourselves to any of this, even as she's talking. And, I understand that they're not on a spiritual level. I understand that. I really thank the Father that, we have a spiritual covering to run these things by. We are covered in this ministry if we choose to follow that covering. So I'm sorry, that's what I was thinking of. That is the first and only thing that comes to my mind as she's talking about all of this.
That's very good. That's exactly what I want. I want your initial direction because this is the type of things that are being presented, that are being ministry tools or, just tools to feed the women's minds on what to listen to or how to be guided or what to hear from. Do you really have a core of peace with all the torment that you have or 3 or 4 failed marriages, etc.? Don't you need someone helping you make your decisions? Right? All right, I'm going to the last quote from the Shabbat message that I have for you tonight. All right, here it goes.
That's it. Now, you name one thing I ever tried to put on the stake. No. remake you into their image. If you do, you got problems. Your hair turned gray, you die. You know how stupid you look 7 years old with black hair or brown hair? You know how stupid you look? You know, somebody out there got to be watching. So, you know, they're going to figure out how women do. They're like, yeah, that's true, too. The devil got you everything to make you feel good about yourself, but the really truly is, he's making you into his image. Because we ain't got to talk about the makeup, right? Because Tamir did a good video on makeup. If y'all see it, you're going to fall out all over the place. Y'all need to go watch that video. Isn't it nice to be able to see a woman for what she really truly is? Now, you can't even tell if it's a woman or a man. I know she's a woman because she's a sister. I know she's a woman because her husband says she's one. That's one. But then, you may end up with a man that looks like a woman. Them fools are dying every day, too. What do they call them? Transgender? They dress up like women? Transvestite. Says how far disconnected. I don't know what the hell you know of you. It's trans, I don't know.
Just to prove your last thought, you see how far disconnected we are, Sister Jennifer, in the show.
Yes, ma'am. You know what, Sister Ashley, I think the point that Pastor made, you know, of talking about being remade into the image of a demon, that is truly what happens when you are not content with how the Father made you and you're not content with what your role is. So as women, we truly need to learn our role and we need to operate in that role and we need to come out of her. Bless you, daughters of Zion.
I can't end it yet. I got one more. I'm going to end the show with this. Thank you, Pastor Dow. I got one more I got to play. All right, bless y'all. Thanks for listening. I hope this has made some changes in the way you think and the way you see yourself. With great love, shalom and good night.
A woman, you go back, next thing you know, you go sloppy, spit, get in on him. Next thing you know, it's time to do, and you reach down and you grab you. And then people wonder why people taking guns out and shooting. But this is how screwed up the world is. You go for the rest of your life because somebody done deceived you. Try to impose themselves on you. Using deception. Bless you. Y'all need to have conversations like this so when your children grow up, they'll know what's right from wrong. That's real talk. Because the way this world going, your children ain't gonna know right from wrong unless you teach them. That's true. I'm telling you. That's why we talk like this. I love it when our children hear this stuff. They do like this. That's nasty. That is nasty. Tears have told me, don't put that stuff up there no more. Please, Pastor. I have nightmares.
And Yahweh Elohim said,
"It is not good for the man to be alone. I am going to make a helper for him as his counterpart."
Holy Yahweh Almighty, we're singing, Holy